Hello, everyone. So usually we talk about Ireland, but we have to talk about this international situation. I've talked about it before, but I want to reiterate my point. I suppose expand on that point too, because they kind of have made a few community posts talking about it, and I want to explain my thoughts on it. I suppose in a way. I know some people might not care, but and I know some people straight away are Trump supporters, etc. And you can support whoever you want, of course. But I'm just saying it's not right for anybody. I would say the same thing for Xi Jinping or whoever it is, even me or Martin if he decided to go woke. Regardless of who it is, I would say the same. But particularly in terms of Greenland, obviously Greenland's a NATO member and it's in your part of Denmark, the Kingdom of Denmark. Donald Trump shouldn't be saying, I want to take Greenland like they're about to meet, pretty much. That's what I hear when he's saying that. I want to take it to hell with the 56,000 people that live in Greenland. Because, again, at the end of the day, and I think I've learned this from Santa Marin, just putting out Santa Mountain there. But I think she's right in what she said in Dublin, and thinking about it all the time. What she said that it is up to the people. It's up to everything is about people. It's not about oil and stuff. Because again, the only thing the Trump administration seems to be worried about, and we'll get into all that in a sec, but it's about oil and the natural resources in Greenland. That seems to be the only explanation. Because let's be fair, Greenland is NATO territory. I wouldn't mind if they were talking about Ireland. Ireland's not a NATO country. It'd be say if they were started talking about the Aran Islands from an Irish perspective. Obviously, Ireland's a neutral country. It's not any military alliance. So the United States is like, we want to buy the Aran Islands, the three Aran Islands. And obviously, Ireland, we shouldn't sell even if they did ask for it. But what I'm trying to say, it would make more sense for the United States to be like, yeah, we want these islands because you're not in NATO and we need a base there, take for example, compared to Greenland, which is in NATO, and Iceland beside it too, it's in NATO. And the United States has a military presence in Greenland, 150 something soldiers or something, that airmen particularly of the United States Air Force. And they can expand that presence because this is NATO territory. Like the United States could just pull in 100,000 troops into Greenland if they wanted to, because Denmark they pretty much have a lease. And obviously it's a part of NATO, so the United States could build military bases in Greenland if they wanted to. They don't need total control of Greenland. But they want total control. And again, the only thing, and we see with Venezuela too, the main thing Donald Trump's on about is about the oil. And I know the oil is important too to give back to the Venezuelans, etc., because they're struggling at the moment. But the United States seems to be more focused on the oil and stuff like that. And it's more of that agenda to be done, I think, with Greenland, because I suppose Wackland the saber at Denmark too is not a great thing, because the can't use the excuse they used in Venezuela, saying it's a military dictatorship or anything, because let's be fair, Greenland's a democracy the same as Denmark. Not to mention too, but talking to buy people basically to join the United States. Because at the end of the day, the way I see people solving this, and straight away, let the people of Greenland decide, get a ballot, get it sorted, get it done in 2 months. You have three options. Either they go for independence, total independence from Denmark, and be it just a own an independent country, or stay with Denmark, or go with the United States. And that's the three options people, the 56,000 people of Greenland, should have. What do they want? Because again, it doesn't matter what I want. I'm an Irish citizen. I have no entitlement. Irish people have no entitlement and never did and never will have any entitlement to Danish territory or to Denmark or to Greenland. We have our island. We're happy enough with it. But I'm just saying it's up to the people to decide. And I think that's the thing we're forgetting about. We're talking about land and we're talking about oil. We're talking about natural resources. But we're not talking about the people. And I think that's the main thing. If you ever learn anything from Santa Mountain, I think that's the main thing. And it's true. Because out of all this, all the arguments back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, it's about land and it's about oil and it's not about the people who live there. And I think that's the main thing we've lost track on in this debate. Because at the end of the day, it's up to them. It's not up to me or a person with the United Kingdom or from Norway or from Sweden or wherever. It's up to the Danish people. It's up to the Danish people and the Danish government, of course, but the Greenlandic people too. They have the sovereignty of their own country. They're entitled to have their minds. And again, Donald Trump threatening, particularly threatening a country like Denmark, particularly in Greenland, of course, too, is sending the wrong message because the United States is the leader of the free world and is the arsenal of democracy, let's be fair. But it gives the wrong signal to China, to Russia, to other countries, North Korea. If they take Greenland, take for example, North Korea, but like we can take South Korea, and so on and so forth, same with China and Taiwan. And we don't want that in the world, and it's not right to take anybody's territory. And I stand in that point, regardless of what anybody says, I stand in that. Because it's not right, particularly as the United States is supposed to be the arsenal of democracy, to take something by military force, even though they say it's for their own national security. They can put 100 warships around Greenland if they wanted to. It's NATO territory, that's what I'm saying. They could put as many patrol ships and destroyers and frigates, etc., around Greenland to what to do. And they have Iceland too, like they have literally bases there to literally have military facilities there. What I'm trying to say, it's not like Ireland where they don't have any facilities. But what I'm trying to say, it's up to the people of Greenland to decide. But even at that too, you have to look at a lot of stuff because the United States, I don't even know would there be a territory, would there be considered the territory of the United States or a full state of the United States. That's another thing to do if they did join it. But I think the majority of people from Greenland are either with Denmark or either with Greenland by becoming independent. And I'll explain why now in a second too, because obviously Denmark, one of the happiest countries in the world along with Greenland too, because free education, free healthcare. I know that sounds insane to Americans, but that's literally what they get in Greenland. Like there's people literally going to Copenhagen, people from Greenland to study in Copenhagen and totally free. They don't have to pay for a penny back and forth on the plane. So I would love to see would that be the same in the United States. I would assume they have to pay for it to go to college and free healthcare and free everything pretty much. In a lot of regards, the same as pretty much Denmark too for the citizens. So I don't know what the United States, because just we've seen a story recently from the United States, I think from Oklahoma, I think it was actually, that there was a person that got into a car accident, and for the ambulance and stuff and going to the hospital, they had a few an injury to their arm. I think they sprained their arm or something. That was nearly 20-something thousand euro in medical expenses. So there was no such thing as free this or free that, 20-something thousand euro for just go getting the ambulance out of them and bring them into the hospital, get a sling for their arm. That's how much it cost for that, just to say 20, I think it was 27,000, something like that. It was an insane amount, and they didn't have medical insurance and stuff, so they have to pretty much probably find the money somewhere to pay it. But that's what I'm saying. So why would people agree with what to join the United States if that's going to be what they already pretty much have a good offer with Denmark? Now don't get me wrong, there's been things done Denmark has done to women in Greenland and stuff by stopping them having children, etc. That's a different story. But it's up to the people of Greenland to take that on to account and to decide for themselves. And I think that's the whole meaning of democracy. When the people choose, because again, at the end of the day, it's up to them. The 56,000 that's there, it's up to them. Like I could argue till the cows come home, but at the end of the day, it's up to them. But and especially when I'm always about too, and I just say this to people too, and I see a lot of Irish people too. Of course, Ireland's our main focuser too, but I do think as a country in the West, and of course, a country that values freedom and a country that values sovereignty. We want Irish sovereignty, even though our leaders might not value the sovereignty of our country, the Irish people do. And it's important to respect people's sovereignty, Greenland sovereignty, Denmark sovereignty. They have a right to their island, the same as we have a right. We shouldn't let any country, regardless how big they are or who they are, take somebody's land without their consent, because it's their land. It's simple as that. It's the same when the British came over here. They took our land, they took our properties, they took our country. Without the Irish people's consent, they came in and took it. And you committed horrible crimes. But that's what I'm saying. And it's important to stand up for what's right. And again, the only way to solve this in my mind, is that the people of Greenland go to the ballot box and say they have three options. What do they want? And what's the best interest of them? It's not about me, or it's not about NATO, it's not about anybody else. It's about what's the best interest in them 56,000 people. What's their interest? What's their best? What benefits them the most? And what do they take? Because at the moment in time with Sabo Ackland from the United States, it's not a great look for the United States, first of all. It's not a great look for the people of Greenland when they're looking at the United States, because they're not really been given an option here, and that's the main thing about democracy. You get an option on what to choose. It's not like Russia and China where you're just basically told by the power of a gun what to do. But anyway, let me know what you think. Subscribe for more, and bye.